All right, a little bit of history around why we're here. So Pat reached out to me a few months ago, and he asked me, we're doing a Drupal North. Obviously, being part of Acquia, we're very much involved in Drupal. So he asked me if I was interested in coming and talking about Acquia, and I thought about it. And I felt that speaking about Acquia from an Acquian is not very objective, right? So I decided on, inviting partners, people that I know very well, that I've been working with for quite some time, and have them come and share their experience around Drupal, and more importantly, how they were able to scale their organization to play in the enterprise market. So before we jump into that discussion, and we're going to start with a round of introductions, what I wanted to do is tell you a bit about my experience with Drupal in Canada. For those of you I don't know, and I know a lot of faces here, I've been working in the open source industry for 15 years now. I worked with the government of Quebec, lobbying, having them put in place a law that would promote the use of open source in governments. I was also organizing the largest events here in Quebec, gathering hundreds of people to talk about open source and implications for businesses and the benefits, obviously. And then I worked also with a few integrators. So some of you may be familiar with Unix, for example. I worked with them for a few years. And then I joined Acquia, right? I got pitched on this idea of the enterprise guy behind an open source solution. Obviously, I was very much interested in open source, and I wanted to make that leap to the enterprise space. So that was kind of the right moment for me. Now, when I joined Acquia about 5 years ago, everything was going so great in the US and Europe, and the entire government was standardizing Drupal. Yeah, I'm just going to pick my customers and I'm going to sign contracts and it's going to be so easy, right? The reality was very different. 5 years ago, I started having these discussions, calling CMOs, top 5 banks in Canada, and having that discussion with them, right, around digital transformation, open source, cloud, obviously. And the reality was that open source was nowhere to be found on the CMS landscape. At least everybody was still doing things, on premise. To be fair, there wasn't much alternatives at the time if you had data sovereignty requirements, or if you were using personal information, because Azure didn't have a data center in Canada, Amazon didn't have a data center in Canada, CGI had something called the cloud. I don't think it no longer exists. So it was the reality here was very different. So 4 weeks into the job, it was either jump ship, right, because it felt like it was going to be a big task, or put my head down and keep having these discussions and talk about the benefits of open source, talk about cloud. And so a year and a half into the job, I signed the first large deal for Acquia in Canada, which involved Drupal for a company that is very stringent in security, which is Acquia Drupal, right? You're familiar with Acquia Drupal. And by having this first reference in enterprise and this security foundation, kind of made babies, right? So SSU followed Bombardier and Kujik or Kushon, all the biggest names out there on time. These are companies that would have never considered standardizing open source solutions, or even look at clouds for deployments of these solutions. So when I look at where we were 5 years ago, and where these guys were 5 years ago, and where we are now, we in Acquia, and where these partners are today, there's a very big change that has occurred. And so who better to talk about that change and kind of the challenges, the things that they had to do to scale their organization, these enterprise requirements than Pat, Brad, and Chris. I love the fact that we've pretty much, Canada covered here, because we have Pat, who is now in BC, for those who don't know. Brad is in Montreal, and Chris is in Ottawa. And they all have different mandates. But I don't want to say more. I'm going to let you guys introduce yourself to the crowd. Pat?
Okay. Yeah, so you guys have already seen me today a few times running around, so I'm not only the president of the Drupal North Association helping plan this event, but I work for one of our sponsors, Digital Echidna, and I'm our channel partner manager there. So I work very closely with some of our technology partners, especially Acquia and Pantheon and some of the other big players in the space. I've actually been in, I guess, the open space through the world for just over 8 years now. I've been with Echidna for 3.5. So that's a quick about me.
Hi, I'm Brad, here from Digital Symetris, a company I founded a bit more than 15 years ago. And on that road, we started working with Drupal about 10 years ago. We've been sponsoring the Drupal camps since that time, doing organizing conferences. We really live in the community. And the team, talking about 5 years ago, we were about, I think 11 or 12 people. Right now we're on the verge of being 25. So we had a lot of growth in the past couple of years, especially in the last year. And I'm really looking forward to share with you guys how we've gotten there. And maybe some of you might know people who are going to help us get the next step down the road. So we're always looking for developers, project managers, QA specialists. And so yeah, so that's a little bit about me.
My name is Chris Ligo. I'm here representing OPIN. You may know some other Chris's from our organization. There's at least 4 of us. And OPIN's been a player in the Drupal space for some time now. And over the last about 8 years, OPIN's come from a place where we were working on the smallest projects to working on the largest projects. And so I think that we have a unique experience in terms of growing into the enterprise space, especially alongside our partner Acquia.
Perfect.
Can I just jump in there one thing?
Yes.
One thing, just casually, I kind of actually forgot to talk about Echidna a little bit. Talk about me, I thought it was just me, man.
It's always about you, man.
Yeah, so the one thing I did want to say, just to add to that as well, and then because we're talking about growth of agencies, when I joined Digital Echidna, that I was employee number 34 at the time, and we're now at 82. So we've scaled quite a bit in the last 3.5 years as well. So I'll touch on that a little bit later.
Awesome. Could you maybe, since you're talking about Echidna, what I wanted to ask you about, we've been working for some time together when you were open and now at Echidna, and just 2 days ago I was actually with this guy here, and Andrew, who is the CEO of Echidna, and we were preparing for the pitch at City of London in Ontario. These guys are obviously, that's where they are headquartered. And just looking at the documentation that they were producing ahead of the pitches, compared to what I had seen 3-4 years ago, which basically was non-existent, right? It was, okay, let's go in there and we're going to win. The level of preparation that these guys have today is amazing. I was stunned, and kudos to you guys. I already told Victor.
Kudos to Victor for sure.
Yeah, there you go. But can you speak about that change in preparation, going through these processes, making sure that everyone is on board with the vision that Echidna will be pitching, both around Drupal and also around UX and
So to touch on that a little bit, it's funny that you kind of start with that. One of the points that I wanted to make is that we find we're generally not having to pitch Drupal as much anymore. Mm-hmm. People are aware, enterprise organizations, big organizations, they're aware of Drupal, they're aware of open source. We don't have to break that barrier down anymore, so now we're really focusing on pitching Echidna and what we can do for them, and building the vision for them, the strategy, the UX strategy, building that digital experience out, what that's going to look like, and providing that full vision. And that's what our pitches have turned into now, as opposed to, you know, having to get very technical, deep dive, this is what Drupal does, this is how it can change. So that's definitely one of the market trends that we're seeing as of late, and it helps because, to be fair, we've always felt good about our brand, our reputation, and so we want to be pitching that first. We don't want to have to go into a client, have an hour demo, and then save the last 20 minutes for, oh, by the way, this is who we are and this is what we do, right? So definitely having that opportunity to do that more, and again, that's why we're sprucing up our presentations and preparing more to show our chops and show our talent a lot more.
Awesome.
I can jump in a bit on that concept, and as the mandates grew that we've been working on as well, and the stuff that we're competing against has changed. And back in the day, it used to be like, Drupal is kind of like WordPress but better, and or Joomla, yeah, that was like the trio was Drupal and Joomla and WordPress, and right now the trio is Drupal and Adobe Experience Manager and Sitecore. So it's really a different scale of types of mandates we're working on, and different types of technologies, and the way they're positioning themselves is different than how we position ourselves regarding those technologies also changes. So that's an evolution we've seen as we've grown, and I think the market itself has kind of understood it. I think the barriers are clear between what each CMS does and is good and is not good for, and each has their own like history, and kind of Joomla, I don't know if people still do that, but you know, like Drupal and WordPress and Adobe and stuff, they still have, they were able to gain that market share and maintain and grow it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just to reinforce what these guys have been saying, I think that, you know, whether you are a massive agency or a one-person shop, you can still pitch enterprise Drupal. You know, Drupal is the same Drupal, and so I think you really need to be focusing on, you know, what it is that your agency brings to the table from an enterprise perspective. What have you done? What are you capable of? What kind of services and products can you bring to the table?
Awesome. Now, a lot of what you're saying is shifting from, you know, technical discussion to business value, right? And when you want to have that business value discussion, you usually end up with communications or marketing, because, you know, these guys are the ones and on the budgets. Right? What were the challenges, you know, in really transitioning from more of a technical discussion where we were talking security, where we were talking, you know, support, you know, certifications, etc., versus, you know, this is what we're going to drive for the business, right? Talking KPIs in terms of conversions, lead gen, etc. What were the challenges, and, you know, how do you overcome them?
Do you want me to take that, or want you to do that?
I can maybe have a quick, have an interesting kind of tidbit of non-valid statistical information, but we checked with, we surveyed our clients while we were kind of just exploring how we're positioning ourselves and how we want to evolve our offer. And one of those questions was, how do you measure the return on your investment for digital? And the vast majority of people we were talking with could not evaluate that ratio, because we don't know how to evaluate the ROI of our digital investments. We just do it because we know we have to do it, but we don't really know like what this is going to bring. I think this kind of conversation is slowly moving forward, because what I'm hearing is that, you know, in the States, they're getting to be more savvy about it, and maybe the rest of Canada, you guys can confirm. But here in Quebec, we're still kind of newbies, I think, in the organizations that are able to measure that value. So it's oftentimes measured on, can you achieve this and this and this? And then we say, yes, we can help you achieve that. And, you know, before we used to be more like specifications oriented, like, hey, we're going to build you a contact form, and we're going to do this content type or whatever. And right now, we're kind of saying, this is the objectives we're going to help you reach. What we're trying to see to kind of move that needle is we're challenging the client on, why are you setting this KPI as opposed to some other one? And then they're kind of, whoa, I don't know. And then you have to kind of get to the, you know, scratch and say, oh, so your real problem is X, Y, Z, as opposed to my KPI is number of page views of this or whatever.
Yeah, I think that, you know, as a marketer, it's made my life a lot easier. I don't have to be as technical anymore. I can basically speak to the things that make me and my team tick, right? The exact same things that we're looking for in any communications platform that we use. is exactly what we're now marketing to these enterprises. And I think an important thing that we've had to be mindful of is there's a certain perception around large organizations, enterprises, that they have this iron grip on their digital strategy, and they totally get it. And we're just basically, we get marching orders from them and they tell us what to do. And I think that's far from the reality. I think that to reiterate on what we've already been discussing, I think you have to come in as that strategic leader with these organizations and say, how can we be that evangelist within your organization? How can we provide you with those KPIs and that information that you need to go to your team and say, this is what we need to do, this is the next step, this is the future of our digital strategy.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
And to kind of go back to your original question of like what challenges do we face as an agency? I think there's obviously a lot when trying to scale quickly. One of the biggest ones for us, I think, that we found is internally arming your team, your project managers, your account managers. The trickle down effect on how we can strategize. What UX consulting looks like, all those types of things that oftentimes there'll be conversations that are had in the sales process, and then it turns into deliverables and handed off to the delivery team, and they just heads down and go. Whereas now they're having way more client-focused meetings, they're having much more deeper discovery sessions, strategy, UX. We're talking months up front of work that the account team actually takes on versus the sales team now. So that's a challenge that we've had. One of the ways that we've gone about getting over that hump is that we put about 30 to 32, I think, of our team members through the Nielsen Norman Group UX certification program. So now we have that many certified UX strategists on our team, which is awesome, which is basically most of our delivery team.
So it was training versus hiring people?
Yeah, exactly. We train internally. When it comes to training, we love it. We only did one training. We're not exactly evolving where we are the most known in training, but we're really sprucing up that area as well, and that's because there's such a demand for it internally. We train internally as well as training at Fanshawe College. We have a program there where we're actually training students so that they're coming in and learning more about Drupal, but they're also learning about design and that kind of stuff from experts, and then it gives them an opportunity to quick entrance into a career as well.
If I could just jump in on the past point, actually, I think another important thing there is the credibility, right? And so anyone who's worked in sales and marketing understands that you talk about Drupal all day, and a lot of people will be like, oh, he has no idea. And you might actually get it, but because you're not the developer, you're not the designer, you're not the product owner, they might not believe you. And so I think that, to Pat's point about training people internally and making them leaders and helping them be the strategists for your clients, I think it brings that credibility where they're going to believe what the developer has to say about Drupal a lot sooner than they're going to believe the salesperson.
Brad, any comment?
No, nothing specific.
Perfect. I'll be curious, this question is going to be for you. First, having a CEO's perspective, right? Because you're involved in pretty much everything within your organization. You have kids, you've got a wife. You must have a life, right? So how do you manage, with these larger projects, playing more of a hands-off, role and making sure that at the same time making sure that the quality of the work that's being done is still improving?
So that's a good question. I think I'm a weird entrepreneur, and I've met a lot of different people in different business groups and stuff like that, where when I started, I used to work in the film industry where the schedules are insane, and when the sun is up, you have to be ready, so you have to set up the whole thing. When the sun goes down, you start putting, so it's like 16, 18-hour days. And when I started Symetris, I said, you know what, I'm going to do 35 hours a week. And that's what I've continued to do for the last 15 years. And when I'm back at home, my phone is off. And so I have really a clear division of what's work and what's not. And the only way I can reach that is if I delegate as fast as I can. So So, for example, it's like what's the quality of our products and stuff like that. We realized in the past year that, you know what, a dev or the project manager is not the right person to check if the project has the right quality. So we created a quality assurance department, and we have, you know, a couple of people in there who are basically just testing websites and making sure they're reaching objectives. And the structure of the company, you know, there's directors, there's team leaders. So that way, this stuff does bubble up to me, but for me, it's like keep me informed, not involved. And I think the place where I'm most involved is especially in sales and marketing, with HR, but the whole production team is led by David Pinot, who's right there, who's been with us for almost 10 years now. And you know, I can close my eyes and sleep on my pillow. I know everything's going to be taken care of, so thank you for that. But I think we have to be able to trust people and let them do their job. And initially, kind of in our transition towards where we are now, we used to do a lot of internal training and hire kind of juniors and train them up. But we realized a couple of years ago saying, yeah, but people who are senior, they have a lot of extra baggage of life that they can bring to a project. And so we started hiring more senior developers, and that has made a huge difference for us internally as well, to be able to trust how products are evolving, to meet deadlines, to meet specs, and fit into the budget. So those are kind of my little tidbits of how to like delegate and just live your own life and not just be too involved in the work.
Yeah, and I just want to touch on that, not from my perspective, but actually from Andrew's, our CEO. It was one of the craziest things I've heard, and I just heard it, I think it was a couple months ago. He started his own personal leave my phone at the door policy, which I was like, sorry, what? Like, how do you not check everything else on your phone? But when he walks in the door, he has a wife and 4 kids. That's his priority. So he's been able to put his phone down and do his day, do what he has to do as a family man. And the reason why
Four kids?
4 kids.
He's a soccer dad.
And I think to build on the reason why he can do that now is the growth has helped us in a couple of ways. Obviously, being able to deliver from a capacity perspective, but also bringing on some more senior roles, not just from the development perspective, but at a director's level that can control all the different divisions of our company. And he puts a lot of faith in those directors to make the decisions and to move the ship forward while he's kind of just the captain steering the ship. So.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think, you know, I'm probably a little bit lower level here, so I can't necessarily speak to it, but I think that something that's worked well for Open as we've grown has been actually introducing a bit more of a hierarchy. I think we all have this kind of utopian vision of this 1,000-person organization that's completely flat, no one manages anyone, and it doesn't work. You know, you can make it work within reason, but I think that the most effective way to scale is to actually have a hierarchy where there's trust and where people actually feel comfortable passing everything all the way down to the most junior person and understanding what they're capable of and giving them that confidence to actually deliver.
One of the, sorry, I just wanted to jump in that, that was one of the big moves we made in the last 5 years to kind of have that hierarchy. And basically what happens is that everybody was reporting to me. You know, you have 15 people reporting to me, but how do I know exactly what number 14 is doing all day long? And so when I'm doing an evaluation at the end of the year, I don't have the right insight. And so now having a team that has a maximum of 5 people, that team leader really intimately knows what each person is doing, how they've been evolving, and so the evaluation and the feedback they're getting is way more relevant than when I would be giving it, and more involving, because I can only spend like, you know, X number of minutes per person, you know, so.
Perfect. It's funny that you say you can speak about it because Chris, their CEO, is actually going through the same process, right? Surrounding himself with senior executive, you know, that he can delegate to, so he can really focus on, you know, being the nice guy. That's right. Now I'd like to talk about specific projects, where, you know, large projects, and maybe we can start with you, Pat. Talk a little bit about WSID, the kind of impact that you had for, you know, this customer, and maybe give the background why they went through that project.
Sure, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of moving pieces involved in that, obviously. WSIB is a Workplace Safety Insurance Board of Ontario, if you're not familiar with it. This is an organization that's been on a legacy system, Vignette, very old kind of system that they custom built, I want to say 10, 15 years ago or something like that. So they were on an old archaic system. I think, again, I don't think they really had to be sold on Drupal. They needed to be sold on an enterprise solution, which we combined with Acquia. We're actually fairly quick and easily able to convince them that that was the right direction to go. The security, the infrastructure, the uptime, the 24/7 support. We're always looking to build out that opportunity as the client is. They're excited. They're all about what's next on their digital strategy, their roadmap. They're working closely with both us and Acquia to push that forward. Looking at things like CDN and potentially Site Factory and all these different DXP platform solutions that we can bring to the table and offer together. Yeah, I mean that's kind of where we're at with WSAB. The other thing I guess that they were really impressed with was they're used to spending ridiculous amounts of money, so that's huge. And we did it, on time, on budget. Actually, I think we delivered probably a month in advance of when they were expected to go live. So just that efficiency and being able to deliver that website was a huge impact, and obviously now a great case study for us.
Yeah, something that's includes your team, by the way, because the customer is 100% satisfied. The thing is that, when we are in this community, right, we tend to take things for granted, right? Things like a simple workflow, publishing workflow. Frankly, you think that it's easy for everyone to understand, but people still, in some organization, like WSIB, they still have to go to IT to get anything published on the website, right? And that creates backlogs, and that creates delays, and something also about cost. So if you go back on business value, they were spending $300,000 just for 10 templates. That's insane. Can you realize the amount of work of professional services that you do with $300,000? You could run campaigns, new UX strategy. It's the web of the past, right? But it's a reality that there are a lot of organizations that are still, in that phase where they are running legacy technologies, it's on-premise. They don't have access to some of the basic features that we're very used to using. Now, Brad, I want you to talk about Videotron. Videotron is close. It's in Montreal, right? For those of you who don't know Videotron, it's one of the largest telcos here in Canada. And historically, Videotron was very much like WSIB. Obviously, WSIB is publicly funded, but Videotron, private organization. But they were using the legacy tech. They were using Oracle, which, when you think about openness, Oracle is kind of at the end of the spectrum, right? And their license was out of date, was expired, so they were no longer getting supported. And of course, Oracle was on them. Hey, here's a $2 million bill, and you can renew for 3 years, right? In parallel, they were going through a very large transformation. I don't know if some of you have seen Fizz, the new offering, Videotron. But I can talk a bit more about that. But they're trying to think differently than they have for the last 20 years and come up with offerings that are more in line with what millennials are looking for. So I probably said too much, but rather what I wanted to talk about is how you were introduced to Videotron. Obviously, some of it is not live, so we won't be able to share too much information. We call it Project Marvel internally, which is awesome, right? Every meeting is called for or whatever. But can you share your experience with Videotron, the first phase, the second phase, and how you structured your team, to work in partnership with us, and that in the day to be, I know it's what we hear is the most successful project within Videotron. You're taking another project, so.
That sounds really good to hear.
Yeah.
So Videotron actually got in touch with us about 1.5 years ago, they had started already working on this Fizz thing, which was a completely, side project because Videotron and everything is so legacy. They had actually taken up an office in another building that was not within the Kerikal Media empire, and they had started working on a project, and there was a firm who is working on their kind of back-end thing that manages everybody's subscriptions, and they said, we can build a website, and at least Drupal seems to be okay. And so what Videotron realized about halfway through is that one, they didn't know how to do any design, and so they hired designers and UX people, and then they realized they didn't know how to program Drupal, and so they were able to find us fairly quickly through an online search that were well known in the Drupal community. And when I met with their team, it clicked immediately, and there was a team of really high-performing senior people who knew what they were doing. Sometimes they had to convince a client on, this is how digital works, and they're like, 5 steps ahead, so it was super exciting. And our team and their team kind of mixed together, so we had this confidence that we had between each other, the trust was really well established, and we helped them move his